There we go. This side of the table is still working. No, it's all good. It's all good. Is it already running? Okay, cool. Let's start.
Start before the batteries run out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another night of Carapace storytelling. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here tonight. As I always say every month, you guys are the show. Like, without you, it is just me and a microphone in an empty room and manuals. Not something unusual in Atlanta, I'm sure, but I'm glad y'all are here. All right, so by round of applause, who's brand new to Carapace? Never been here before, first time, round of applause. Yeah, all right, we got a lot of new people. All right, all you veterans who've been here, give them a round of applause for coming out and supporting live storytelling. All right, for all of you who are new, this is Carapace storytelling. This is real life storytelling. Every storyteller comes up, they get 5 to 7 minutes to tell a story without notes on the theme. And if you know the theme tonight, shout it out. Heated rivalry. That's right, that is tonight's theme. So take that however you want to inspire your story. Like I always say, I am not an English teacher. I will not be grading you on whether or not you adhere strictly to the theme. We just really want to hear a good story. So however it inspires your story tonight. We're going to get 5 to 7 minutes, and we have our timer tonight. Tell everybody your name. Ed. Give it up for Ed, ladies and gentlemen. Ed will be keeping time for us tonight, so he's got the timer there, and he'll set it for 5 to 7 minutes when the time we start going. And as the time ticks down, he'll hold up some signs, so you have 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then he has a final sign there that says, "Please wrap it up." And that's it, guys. I'm not going to come take the microphone out of your hand. This is a showtime at the Apollo, nothing like that. This is a safe space. We just ask that you try and wrap up your story in the time so we can get through as many storytellers as possible tonight and hear everybody. So if you guys will silence your cell phones tonight, because if you put them on silent or vibrate or whatever, because real life storytellers up here, they can hear your cool ringtone, might throw them off because they got the story memorized, and you'll throw that line off, and then they have to improvise. And that's when the stories get good, and we start forgetting what we were going to say. Happens to me all the time. So let's see. I do have a cheat sheet here. So we take the time, Captain. All right. True stories, no notes, no comedy routines, no political rants, though we don't mind if the political moment is part of the story. And your story has to have a beginning, middle, and end, and also some change has to occur. Little growth. Okay. And no hate speech. All right. Let's keep it nice. Keep it nice, safe space. We're going to share stories tonight. You might even make a new friend. You might be helping somebody move after tonight. You might be driving people to the airport. You never know. That's how stories work, man. Somebody tell a real good story, you got dirt on them now. You get, yeah. So we're going to have fun tonight. We are live streaming tonight. So you're going to see the phone right here in front of you. If you don't want your story, up on the interwebs, we can always cut it out. So again, safe space. We want you to be comfortable. We want you to be your best, bring your story. And if you don't want it up there, we can cut it out. So no sweat at all. Your donations to the fundraiser help pay for the tripod that we got for the camera over there. So thank you. Look at it. Y'all making 2026 happen. We're like streaming stuff now, recording stories, having a good time. Who knows what's going to come up next from your support? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Anything? No?
Let's give it up for Chris Gray.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. This is my favorite night of the whole month. I enjoy coming here, and I just like shepherding the storytellers through the show and hearing your stories. What else you got, Shannon? Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, we got a new thing for you first-time storytellers, because we put the names in the hat. I draw the names out. I can't tell who's brand new storyteller. So this month we're trying something new. So if you're brand new and you've never told a story here at Carapace, we have your name on the white slips of paper. And then all you veterans, get the big beige slips of paper. So I gotta tell the difference between white and beige and a darkened room. So, but anyway, that way I can tell who's new, and my goal is always trying to get new storytellers up here who've never been here before to give you an opportunity to share your stories up here on our humble little stage. So we're gonna try that tonight, see how it works. You guys let me know if you like it, don't like it, or if you got a better idea. I'm all ears. What else? Anything else? Let's have a good show. Let's kick it off. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. I'm gonna start with one of our veteran storytellers tonight. And I want you guys to put your hands together and bring a thunderous round of applause for every storyteller that comes up. So give it up for your first storyteller tonight. Give it up for Cheddar, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Give it up for Cheddar.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. So I'm sitting in jail with my broken hand in a cast, and I'm wondering, how in the world could a weekend that started with so much promise end in a complete disaster? But there I was, asking myself that and wondering, how in the world am I supposed to explain this broken hand to my relatives at the upcoming family reunion? I know they're going to ask, especially my brother. Well, before I could ponder what tall tale I was going to tell them, I was whisked off from the holding cell and taken over to central booking, where I was officially processed into the system and got prepared for, as I can best say, my close-up, also known as my mugshot. And I was fingerprinted, and that's when the reality of the situation hit me. I'd never been in this position before, and now I was going to have to wait for a judge's decision on Monday morning, who's held the fate of my future in their hands. So let's backtrack and see how we got here. It was June 2000, I'll never forget, Gay Pride Weekend, or what I like to call Y2Gay. And my partner and I had a standing Saturday night date. I'd go up to Alpharetta and pick him up from his job. Then we go shopping at North Point Mall, go to our favorite all-you-can-eat restaurant, and we cap off the evening, wait for it, at Blockbuster Video. One action for him, one sci-fi for me. Well, as we were coming back into town, I and he, both of us noticed that, everybody was out and about for Pride having fun. I mean, the line was wrapped around the corner at the all-male nude review, Swinging Richards. And the parking lot was full of cars at the adult novelty bookstore Insurrection, or what I used to call Incineration. So we decided, hey, Pride is only once a year, so let's go ahead and celebrate. So we decided to walk to my favorite club, which was close to my apartment in Midtown, called Bulldogs. And when we got to Bulldogs, that's where things took a turn for the worse. You see, upon entering said dog pound, I found out what ghosting was before ghosting was a thing, because my partner disappeared off into the darkness for what seemed like several hours. And I couldn't find him. And when I did find him, he was talking to, some people or some guys that I didn't know him. Even though we had friends outside of the relationship, it was a bit rude, I thought, that he would introduce me to them. And I felt a little, pissed off and jealous that he might be giving his attention to someone else. So I walked over to him. I'd had a few libations, and I was like, I'm ready to go. So we leave Bulldogs, and as we're walking back home, an argument ensued. Me being the interrogator, asking, well, who was this person you were talking to? Why wasn't I introduced? What's going on? Is this something? Are you stepping out on me? So on and so forth. And there was no reaction. So unwisely, I shoved him, and he retaliated and shoved me back. And this went back and forth until we made it to my apartment in Midtown, at which point it was a full-scale battle royal. Or as the wrestling announcer Jim Ross would say, it was a slobber knocker. With projectiles being launched into orbit like the Kennedy Space Center, tables flipped like the Real Housewives of Atlanta, or I guess in our case, the Real House Husbands of Atlanta. And it was in the midst of this melee that I received a valuable lesson in physics. It's true. I found out that some funny things will happen when an irresistible force meets an immovable object. Because one of my haymakers missed target, and instead of hitting my partner, instead it landed on a solid oak sound system. Yeah, ooh. And upon impact, my hand felt kind of funny. And when I looked at it, it looked like a stand-up comedy routine by itself. And that's when I realized, oh my God, that thing is broken. Well, no sooner than that happened was there a boom, boom, boom at the door. And the voice on the other side said, Atlanta police, open up right now. So I opened up the door, and there began my 48 hours of what I call hell in a cell. Because after assessing the situation, determining that I was the aggressive party, I was taken by who I like to call my, travel agents to my courtesy shuttle waiting downstairs. They already had some passengers on board. I mean, they were pretty convenient about everything. You know, we were all headed the same destination vacation, the Fulton County Jail. And it was there where they put my hand in the cast, handcuffed me to a chair, and where I sat for the next 48 hours waiting for that judge's decision. Well, Monday came, and the judge decided that since I was a first-time offender, that if I went to 6 months of anger management counseling and made my regularly scheduled court dates, that this would be removed from my record. And it was in those sessions that I was tasked with coming up with ways to manage my emotion or temper my temper, like being quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, learning how to relax, relate, release, and woosah, let it go. And in urban street vernacular, that's simply slow your roll, bro. Slow your roll, take it nice and easy, and hit cruise control. Because let's face it, a different judge on a different day, and that sentence could have gone a whole nother way. And then there's my hand. As my dad would say, the next time you get the inclination to knock somebody upside the head, just look at your right hand and see how funny it looks in comparison to your left hand. And it makes me smile, because it's a reminder that some funny things will happen when an irresistible force meets an immovable object. Thank you.
Keep it going for Cheddar, ladies and gentlemen. First storyteller of the evening. Oh my God. Guys, I love listening to your stories because I always take one little piece from every little story. And from Cheddar, slobber knocker. That's a SAT word right there. Not SAT I took. But if I wrote that, I would fail. I don't think that's a real word. But I love it. I love it. I'll put that on something. All right. Let's give it up for your next storyteller. We'll call one of our new storytellers to the show. Welcome up Aline Jasper, ladies and gentlemen. Did I say that correctly? Close enough. Did I get it close? All right.
Hello. It's my first time, so.
Yeah!
We're traveling back in time to middle school. And I met my best friend in 7th grade. We both just moved to the world's tiniest town. There were about 55 people in our grade and 40 people in the grade above us. And we moved from places that were very different. We caught on like a house on fire. We spent every minute together. We told each other everything. And then 8th grade hit. And we do the things that 8th grade girls do. I started bullying her. Not to her face, but behind her back. I would start rumors. I would lie. And I would, at night, when she'd call me on the phone after school, I would comfort her while she cried. So this story comes about because it's kind of the opposite of Peter Rivalry. I had someone who was amazing. She was my best friend. I trusted her and she trusted me. And I turned her into a rival because of jealousy, of hormones. I have no idea. Even to this day, looking back, I have no idea what I did or why I did it. But so what makes this story different though is that I didn't keep doing it. There was something that broke in my head and I said I was sorry. I told her everything that I said. I told everyone else everything that I said and dealt with my repercussions. So that day, this is what I'm going to tell the story about, what that day looked like. So it was the summer before we went to high school, and I sat her down by the pool, and I just told her, I'm sorry. I told her the lies that I told and all the things that people were else, like just the life that came from that. And she told me that she never wants to talk to me again. And she did though. By the end of senior year of high school, we had one of those like quiet friendships where we'd see each other in the halls and say hi and bye. But it was never the same. But I was lucky enough to end up working with teenage girls, and I got to teach them to be better. Teach them that the things that you say hurt, the things that you can't take back affect you. And what is that thing that people say? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Keep it going for Eileen, ladies and gentlemen. Eileen, first time storyteller. That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. I love that story. A change did occur. I like it. And I like the former bully, the teaching girls. Yeah, that's like the best teachers are the ones that like they did all the stuff. You know what I mean? That's. Hopefully, I'm a good teacher to my daughter. I did a lot of stuff that I don't want her to do. But that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Let's keep the show going. Put your hands together. Welcome up Gene Woodall, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Gene. Okay, you're going for it. Don't stop.
Okay. I grew up in Auburn, Alabama. War Eagle! I wore my colors. Orange and blue. And in Auburn, Alabama, when I was growing up, you may or may not know that Auburn University wasn't Auburn University yet. It was Alabama Polytechnic Institute, API. And it was that until 1960. So during those years, Georgia Tech was our opponent. We were serious about it. In Auburn, it's really a little town. The college is not in its place. There's hardly anybody there. It's really quiet. And when Georgia Tech is coming up, everything is happening. The only parade that happens all year long, when I was growing up, was the Ret Tech parade. And the floats were fantastic. What you could do to a yellow jacket on a float. It was, floats would end up being expanded on in front of the fraternity houses and the sorority houses. And there was much to be said about how horrible Georgia Tech was. We were so serious about it. We had our fight song, and the bumpers going into driving up to the stadium were made, so if you did the speed that it was recommended, it would War Eagle, fly down the field. You would get the whole song before you got to the parking lot. I mean, this was a thing in Auburn. And then in 1960, suddenly, we were Auburn University, and we weren't API. And suddenly, our worst opponent was not Georgia Tech anymore. It was Alabama, University of Alabama. Well, this is fortunate for me since my son graduated from Georgia Tech and my son got his postdoc from Georgia Tech and his wife graduated from Georgia Tech and her parents are alumni officers at Georgia Tech. And so I live in the middle of a Georgia Tech media blitz whenever I am around my daughter-in-law's family. But I'm cool because Auburn University is no longer really mad at Georgia Tech. Now they're really after Alabama. As a matter of fact, there's a little story that a friend of mine told me about going to a restaurant in Birmingham and seeing two people sitting at the table. And as they were sitting there noticing them, they just decided they had to go over and speak to them. And so they went over and they said, I'll bet you are a graduate of Auburn University. And this person said, yes, I am. What made you think that? He said, well, you just seemed so confident. And so your manners were so good and you were, I could tell that you had lively conversation going on. So he said, yes. And your friend, I think they graduated from Alabama. And the friend said, well, how did you know that? Well, I noticed your class ring when you were picking your nose. That is the kind of heated rivalry there is between Auburn and whatever is the opponent in the football field.
Keep it going, Eugene, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. I knew somebody was going to bring SEC football into this. I knew it. Oh my gosh. I like Auburn. Y'all have the same colors as my school, Florida. Got the orange and blue. Oh, no Florida fans? All right, here we go. Wet game. That's all right. My wife lives in Georgia, so I know what it's like. I'm surrounded. I'm in foreign territory. That's it. Just us. Just us. The two Florida folks. Like my wife said, Florida was so great. Why are you here? I'm like, true. Have you seen what Florida's doing in the news? We have Florida Man. That tells you everything about the state. Florida Man is a me. All right. Let's keep it going. Let's welcome up a new storyteller. Give it up for Liz Jester, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I got the besties right here at the table. Give it over, Liz.
Hi, everybody. This is my first time. Hopefully, so in 2017, I started volunteering as an English tutor in Clarkston, which is a really lovely refugee resettlement city that's about 10 minutes away from here. A local nonprofit in the area would pair me every quarter with an individual, and I would go into their home and I would tutor them in whatever English language topics they needed support in. So in 2019, I was paired with a woman, and for her privacy, I will call her R. R and I lived in the same apartment complex, and so once a week, I would walk down the hill to the buildings at the bottom of our apartment community, and I would knock on her door, and one of her kids would always be peeking out the window. She had 4 kids at the time. She now has 5, with a 6th on the way. Our lives really couldn't be more different. And R also speaks about 7 languages. So needless to say, she picked up English really quickly. And what started off as an hour a week would slowly turned into me staying for an extra hour or 2 and drinking tea and eating pistachios and talking about life across the language and cultural and religious barriers that we had, which turned into lunch and dinner invites, which turned into 6-hour hangs and 8-hour hangs, and playing Simon Says with her kids, and talking them through their social struggles at school and becoming their auntie. It turned into me learning to fold sambusa and mantu, helping R plan and throw birthday parties for all her kids. And one year, she told me that she wanted to learn to cook American cake so that she could serve it at her daughter's birthday. So naturally, I taught her to make boxed funfetti cake. We did a practice round before the party. We made 2 of them. And then we sat on the floor with all her kids, and we crushed both of those cakes with just our hands. And yeah, Roma just, sorry. You didn't hear that. R just became like a sister to me. And during the time that this friendship and sisterhood was unfolding, I was also going through the slow process of becoming estranged from my biological family. And there was a lot of deep grief involved in that. And so R and her family became the closest thing to unconditional love and family that I had. Their door was always open to me, whatever hour. If I wanted to just nap on their couch, fine. Their home became the place that I celebrated every holiday. Even though they don't celebrate Christmas or Thanksgiving, there's always a feast waiting for me on those days at their house. R and her husband are conservative Muslims from a rural part of their home country, and so our worldviews are pretty vastly different, but there was always an openness and an acceptance between us. And there was always an acceptance and a willingness to understand me, my culture, like my tattoos, things that in their culture wouldn't necessarily always be considered appropriate or accepted. There was always an acceptance of me. But there was one thing that I always hid from her and her husband, and that was, in the words of Rose Landry, if you've seen Heated Rivalry, my big lesbian secret. I had these 2 parts of myself. I had the part of myself that felt like I belonged to a loving family, and then I had the part of myself that is queer and that loves to be queer and that's proud to be queer. And I didn't realize it at the time, but these parts were so split within me, and I felt like I couldn't show this family like my queer self. So, sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Okay. Yeah. So, what? So, well, I guess I'll skip to the heated rivalry part. So yeah, I guess it just kind of grated on me, and I started to feel like this wasn't fair to R or her family, that I wasn't really letting her show me who she was and how she would respond to this, and I felt like it wasn't fair to myself, and that I needed to come out, but I was still scared. And when I first started dating women, R and I had both moved away from our apartment complex, and we lived far away from each other. It was easy to hide, and when we broke up, I pretended the tears were about something different. And for anybody who's ever taught or learned English as a second language, you know how mixed up pronouns can get in translation. So R didn't even bat an eye at like the gender neutral language I used to describe my dating life. She just wanted me to find a husband and have kids because that's what made her happy, and I pretended that's what I wanted. But it slowly just kept like driving a wedge, I guess, within me and between us, and I started avoiding her. And I started, as I embraced my queerness more, I stopped spending as much time with R, and I stopped going to her house as much, and she was always understanding, and she would always say she understood I was busy and she still loved me, but I don't know, I just kind of distanced myself. And then I met someone who was deeply obsessed with Heated Rivalry and got me hooked on it. And episodes 5 and 6, who here has seen Heated Rivalry? Oh, not very many people. It's so good. So episodes 5 and 6 like chemically changed me. But especially episode 5, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's a really beautiful moment where someone comes out in episode 5, and it's a show about gay hockey players. And so this scene, like, it just hit me in a really particular way. Like, it just reminded me of like the kid I was in church, hearing people talk about gay people the way they do in church, and me as like a closeted teenage basketball player who just wanted to kiss my teammates and like one of my teammates, and like also me as like a 33-year-old who still wasn't able to tell one of my dearest friends that I'm gay. And so I finally decided it was time, and I didn't act on it till about a week ago, and I sent our a voice note and I said, there's something I have to tell you that it's kind of the reason I've been avoiding you, and she told me to give her a call, and so I did, and I started crying and I kind of blurted it out, and she paused at first and she said, I'm sorry, and then she started crying, and I was like, oh shoot, like, this is it, she's gonna tell me not to ever come over anymore, like, great, like, just say it. And she said, my English isn't good enough to say everything I want to say, which kind of like speaks to maybe me, my abilities as an English tutor, but she said, you're my best friend, and I want you to be happy, and I want you to have a good life. And like, when are you coming to my house again?
Keep it going for Liz. What a beautiful story. Oh man, that touched my heart. That was beautiful. Have y'all really not seen sibling rivalry? Heated rivalry. I've only seen a part of one episode. My wife has watched it. She loves it, but she always says I ruin things that she loves, because the part I saw. And for those of you who've seen it, I don't know, there was one episode she was watching, two beautiful gay men see each other at a party. And then like one of them's working, because he's like a waiter at this catered event. And so hot gay guy number 1 asks hot gay guy number 2, do you like Mexican food? You want to get food after your shift? And he's like, yeah. So he waits all night. This dude gets off work, and then they go to the restaurant, it's crowded. Hot gay guy goes, how about we order out? And the guy's like, sure. They get back to his house, clothes come off, they're doing nasty. And I turned to my wife and I went, so did he ever get his Mexican food? I was like, that dude's been on his feet working for hours. Can you imagine you working? Like, I don't care how hot you are. I got off at 2 a.m. You promised me Mexican food. I'm starving. Yeah, you're hot. You got 8-pack. But you got a burrito or like some salsa in the fridge. You know when you have a taste for something? I did watch this part during Ramadan, so I have been fasting. So I really focused in on the Mexican food. So I was very disappointed. She was like, yeah, you ruined this for me. Because they never got back to it. Every episode I walk in, I'm like, did he ever get his Mexican? I'm like, yeah! So I gotta watch the rest of it just to see if that dude finally got his chicken chocolate. All right. Oh, he got the chicken chocolate. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful show. Hey, listen, we say that with love. All right. Let's keep it going. Welcome to your next storyteller. Give it up for David Lardner, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for David. Here he comes. Keep it going for him. All the way up to the microphone. He's got to get around chairs. He's getting the door.
All right. Hello, everyone. All right. My story starts in Gaborone, Botswana, where I was a child, and my father was down to his last year, or coming up on his last year of his contract, and my parents wanted my brother and I to experience school other than Church of England schools, and perhaps something that would ease us into American schools. So my father went off to find the perfect school for us, and he found that in Mallorca, Spain. Now, prior to going to Mallorca, I was spending time with my friends because I knew we were going to pretty much be gone and not see them. And I was with my best friend Kumo, whose father was well placed in Botswana government. And as we were walking out the front door of our house, this portly man and Kumo was sort of a portly kid. This portly man walked up and looked at Kumo and said, "Hello, fat boy." And Kumo looked up at him and said, "Hello, fat man." And it was the first time I'd ever heard a kid speak back to somebody that wasn't their parents. The man, by the way, was Desmond Tutu, which is absolutely has nothing to do with the rest of the story, but I do find that funny. Anyway, so my brother and I get shipped off to Mallorca, and it was a lovely, tiny private school, an American school, but it was very international in flavor. And there was dorms, but we were too young for the dorms, and the secretary of the school and her husband had bought a former Prince of Spain's palace. And it was a large home, 13 bedrooms. And they would take in children who were too young for the dorms, or if there was overflow. And that's how they afforded to upkeep this place up and fix it up. And they were a lovely couple, by the way. We had a roommate, my brother and I had a roommate named Max. His father was an NFL player, and his mother was a French woman who hated France and lived in Argentina, but lived in France while he was in school. Prior to coming to Mallorca, my brother and I had really led a very sheltered life, but we were close to South Africa, so we knew of racism, and we knew a word in South Africa that we were to leave. If we ever heard, we would leave the room. Right before we were sent to Mallorca, my father said, "Hey, Americans have a word like that too," and he told us the word. And I think we all know what the word is. So anyhow, we got to this school, and Max had this black football player father and this slinky white French mother, and my brother and I were essentially from Africa. And the first kids we meet are kids that lived with their mother in the town. They were not part of they weren't really in boarding school. Their father was working the oil fields in Libya. And let's just say these were some well-fed Texans. And the first thing when they looked at me, my brother, and our roommate, they said, "Oh, you all are," and they dropped the N-bomb on us. And we were all just shocked. I don't really quite recall what my emotions were, but I couldn't believe that I just heard this coming out of somebody's mouth. And I think the same was true of my brother and certainly Max, who certainly had more skin in the game than us, no pun intended. That started a very heated rivalry, and terrible things would happen between, there was three of them. There was John, Jerry, and Rayanne, and their mother would pack a lunch for them every day. And if you're familiar with Spanish versions of like Hostess, they had something called bimbo cakes, and she would send them off to school every day with 8 bimbo cakes for dessert. There was 3 of them. Now, if you divided 3 into 8, there was disappointment for one of them every single day. And there would be a huge fight on who was getting 2 bimbo cakes. And I would leverage that to make fun of them. And I was not kind. John, the oldest one, once forced my brother and Max onto a cross-island bus and took all their money so they couldn't get home. But one day, as I was walking home by myself, and the kid who was closest to my age was taunting me from behind, saying the word that I didn't want to hear and I was never allowed to say, I grabbed him and I threw him into a gully on the side of the road full of cactuses. And he was just kind of stuck in there and he was screaming and yelling, and I ran off. About an hour later, his mother showed up at this lovely former palace where Jessie, the school secretary, was home, and she answered the door and they called me to it, and the mother screamed at me, saying, "Have you seen Jerry? He's not a pretty sight." And it was the first time I ever talked back to a person that wasn't my parents, and I said, "Jerry's not pretty at all. Jerry's a little piggy." And she got furious and stomped off. And as the door shut, Jessie turned to me and she said, "Oh, those children, they're perfectly horrible, and they got it from their mother. Good boy." That was my good night.
Keep it going for David. These stories are so much fun. Oh, I love the forbidden words. I'm in an interracial marriage, so I like using the N word around my wife. Specifically to her, because she can't say it back, and she hates it. Like when I come home, I'm always like, "What's up, man?" And she just like, "Stop it!" I'm like, yeah. One of my joys. That's why Martin Luther King fought for me. All right. Just a little bit of reparations every day. All right, let's keep it going for another new storyteller. Give it up for Dara, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Dara. Here we go. Here she comes.
It's weird how a relationship can change you. 1 second, you're fantasizing about married life with kids, and the next second, you're plotting revenge sex with a man 10 years your junior. Tonight, I'm going to tell the tale of the man and our relationship that led to my moral demise. But I first want to set the context where I was emotionally and spiritually when I met Julio Elstein, the Argentine Jew of my dreams. Things hadn't been going very well in the dating department since I'd broken off my engagement. And the last man that I had hooked up with had told me he could use his fake vagina from Japan if I didn't want to have sex with him. So, needless to say, I poured every last ounce of hope in men in Julio when we matched on J-Date. And at least on paper, he had that progressive, intellectual, save the children kind of vibe that pulled my nonprofit heartstrings. We both described ourselves as adventurous in our dating profile. So the pressure was on to plan the perfect adventurous date. He suggested that we meet at sunrise. So I suggest we meet at the top of Corona Heights, a small mountain in the middle of San Francisco at sunrise, stupidly forgetting how early sunrise happens and how foggy it is on a San Francisco morning. And so, and I also, it doesn't occur to me that I'm meeting a complete stranger at atop of a dark, empty mountain until about 5 a.m. when I'm getting into my Lyft to meet my fate. And I explained to the driver what I'm about to do with the hopes he might stick around and make sure my body isn't chopped up into little pieces. But alas, he had to pick up another ride. And you might be thinking, why don't I just abort the mission? I mean, go home. But you have to understand, this was back in 2014. a time when dating profiles weren't just mere branding opportunities. I was actually trying to be honest. So if I said I was adventurous, I'm fucking adventurous. And to not follow through on this would undermine everything I stood for on J. So I get out of the car and into the blistering cold and wind, and I turn on my iPhone flashlight and start winding up the mountain, trying to look confident, even though I'm starting to deliberate which photo my friends will use in the missing poster, one with or without things. And I successfully make it to the top of the mountain, and no one is there. And at first I'm relieved that my potential murderer hasn't arrived, but then I'm also annoyed with myself that I'm not fashionably late. And so I settle in onto a rock and just taking in the wind and fog around me, when a very tall man with a very large backpack arrives. Now, I might have been concerned that it was housing some type of weapon, if it weren't for the fact that he had clearly acquired it at a tech conference. Now, the attraction was almost instantaneous once my murder fantasy started fading away. And, you know, as an Argentine Jew, he was exotic yet familiar, like someone I could have met on a Hebrew school study abroad program. And when he started taking out 30 Tupperware containers of Trader Joe's goodies, including those dark chocolate peanut butter cups, I felt really understood and felt even more convinced that this could be a love match. So after about 30 minutes braving the wind and cold, we decided it's probably a good idea to leave a mountain, but what could be open at 5:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning? His apartment, of course. And so we go back to his apartment and he makes some tea to warm us up, and the attraction just keeps on growing, and I decide to overlook the fact that he's going through a messy divorce and that therapy 2 times a week just isn't enough for him. And he decides instead to focus on his sexy green eyes, acerbic humor, and Ivy League education. And we start making out, and then his bed starts tantalizing us through the large IKEA bookshelf, marking space in our small studio apartment. And we eventually make it over there, but I make it very clear I want to keep my clothes on. I think that there's real potential with this guy, so I don't want to rush it. But little by little, between fun banter and real talk about our lives, clothes start coming off. I have to hurry this. And we start sharing losses, past relationships, hopes, dreams. It's like strip poker. But without playing with cards, we're playing with past traumas. And we stay in bed for 12 hours, and he gives me a parting gift of Argentinian treats in a Ziploc bag, a mixture of salt and sweet, just like him. Now, going back to the moral demise. Basically everything this man had to offer, he used up on that first date. Sunrise meetup, the Trader Joe's goodies, really the only thing I continued to get out of our relationship were those Ziploc bags with treats. Most of our dates consisted of Monday night takeout in his apartment because he was supposedly so busy working on his tenure applications and therapy. And so, anyways, I never talked to him about where we stood in our relationship. But after 5 months, I just assumed he wasn't sleeping with anyone else. And I find that I never asked. And I get the courage, and I ask him. He admits he's been sleeping with somebody else the whole time. Now, at this point, I should have cut my losses and broken it off. But no. I decided to try to make him jealous by starting to sleep with a 24-year-old man. And unfortunately, that just seemed to turn him on more. Do you like the young, agile sex or the old and experienced more? Well, of course, the latter, but I didn't admit that. And so eventually, I break it off and take off my rose-covered glasses because it's very clear that this hero rivalry is only one way. And I see that my rose-colored glasses had made him more in this relationship than it was. And now I only have relationships that are for real. I mentioned I am doing a solo show that has nothing to do with sex, that is at the supermarket on Thursday night. It's called Homecoming.
Wow, give it up for Dara, ladies and gentlemen. Please go see her solo show. What night is it? Thursday night at the supermarket? All right, please go see her. Give her another round of applause. Wow. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is my favorite night of the month, man. I love your stories. All right, let's keep it going. Welcome up a new storyteller. Give it up for Samuel Frankel, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Samuel.
As a college student in the 90s, I had a front row seat.
Test, my bad.
As a college student in the 90s, I had a front row seat to the advent of the internet. And I was a terrible student, but I was a great tinkerer. And I dove headfirst into everything about the internet, how to set it up, how to use it. And I loved the internet. I loved the internet for two reasons. Number one, I was able to communicate with people that were a world away, learn about them and learn about their culture and build these connections with people. And the second reason I loved the internet was because I had such easy access to pictures of naked ladies. And I got so good at using the internet that I had people coming and asking me to teach them how to get them set up. And I had family and friends that were getting discs in the mail and didn't know how to set it up. And I would go and I would set it up for them and teach them how to use it. And I had more and more of these people asking, because I thought to myself, this could be a business. And I could actually make money doing this for people who are learning about the internet. There was one problem. I was a college student and I knew nothing about business. So I reached out to a family member who was a businessman. Now, when I say family member, I mean like a brother-in-law, whatever. And when I say businessman, I meant that he was a rabbi with a side gig of printing Disney characters on yarmulkes. He had an exclusive license from Disney. He was the only one that was allowed to print Disney characters on yarmulkes. Now, lest you think that this is a niche, small market, you would be absolutely correct. But to me, he had a contract with Mickey, and I thought he was a business mogul. So I went to him with my idea, and he said, "That's a great idea, and I want to do it with you." Great. We decided to call it NetAid, and he went and he registered the LLC, and he opened a bank account, and I registered netaid.com and got all of the accounts, everything up and running, and it was great. We had customers that just didn't stop calling us, and it got so big, so fast that I was having some of my classmates come and go out to people's houses as well, and go and get them set up and give private classes. The business was going great. So when he called me and said, we need to get together and talk about the business a little bit, I was so excited to go and meet up with him. I went to his house, sat down, and he said, "Thank you so much for bringing me into this business. I am so grateful to you for this business idea, but I don't need you anymore. I know how to install and teach and get everybody up and running, so I don't need you. And I have all of your classmates doing all the work, so we're gonna part ways." And I said to him, I said, "Rabbi Mickey Mouse." No, I didn't actually say that. I said, "Well, why?" why are you doing this? This is my business, this is my idea. And he said to me, let me give you a piece of advice. He said, always do business with someone that you don't need to write a contract with, and then write a contract. And we parted ways, and I was so upset for such a long time why he would do this, and what's wrong with me, and what did I do wrong, and it affected me for years. Until several years went by, and I moved on, and I went about my life, and I forgot about it. Until I got a phone call from a lawyer, and the lawyer called and said, I see that you are the registered owner of netaid.com. And I represent an organization that is scheduling an international concert fundraiser with all of the big stars from the 90s, I don't know who it was, but and we were having concerts in multiple countries that for the first time ever we were streaming on the web, and we're calling the concert NetAid. And I want to buy netaid.com for you for $10,000. I was a college student in the 90s. That was a lot of money. And I said, I need to think about this. And I went and I opened my computer. I went to netaid.com and I see that my former business partner had built up quite a significant presence on that website. And the more I looked, the more I got excited. Because I knew that if I sold this domain out from under him, it would really, really end his business. My heart was pounding so fast, and I was so excited. I called the lawyer back, and as the phone was ringing, his advice to me ran through my head, and I realized he was half right. That always do business with somebody that you don't need to write a contract with. And as the phone is ringing, I said to myself, always be the person that someone doesn't need to write a contract with. And the lawyer answered the phone, and I said to him, I'm going to pass. And I went back to my computer, I typed the first email that I had, first communication to my former business partner in years, and the subject was thank you. And I just wrote, always do business with somebody that you don't need to write a contract with.
Keep it going for Samuel. Yeah. Oh, Samuel, you're a better man than I. You're all. I love a good comeuppance, especially if I'm the instrument of it. Love it. Oh man, the rabbi did you like that? Man, that's dirty. All right, we've just got a few more storytellers to get through tonight. So put your hands together and welcome up Jody McHugh, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Jody. Keep it going for him. He's almost keep it going.
All right, this starts in 1975, 76. I was 12 years old. Lived in Riverdale, Georgia. Back then, it was relatively crime-free. It was a new, up-and-coming suburban type area. I had four brothers. There was Art, Randy, Eddie, Mitch, and myself. The second brother, Randy, was the heroin dealer of Riverdale. So one day, I'm on my bicycle in the yard, and his two friends pull up. I know what they want. Robbie and Danny. I've seen them many times. I'm standing outside listening through the window as I hear them discuss how they want some heroin, and Randy doesn't have any. So the only other competition, the heated rivalry, was Buddy. Buddy was a Delata dealer.
that synthetic opioid. Drug addicts like it because it's clean. Street heroin can have, trash in it of sorts. So my brother, being the person he is arguing with them about waiting for him to get his heroin before he knows they're gonna go to Buddy. As a kid, I don't care about any of that. I get on my bike and I go to the 7-Eleven. I'm gonna have me a Slurpee and play some pinball. I'm inside the store. To the right side, the doors are to the left. Big glass window. I can see the whole parking lot from my perspective. To the left is an entrance into the parking lot. Goes up a hill a little. Straight ahead's another entrance, to the right's another. As I'm standing there, I see Danny pull up. I'm thinking, where's Robbie at? I just saw him a few minutes ago. So I'm playing my pinball, watching Danny. And he never gets out of the car. Don't know what's going on, not too concerned about it. And I see Buddy pull up. Now, Buddy was a unique character. My brother, he was 19. He was a kid heroin dealer. Buddy was in his 30s. He wore a suit and tie and was chauffeured around in a limousine. He got his Dilaudid from a prescription, so legally he could ride around. If he got pulled over, they couldn't do a thing to him. So I see Buddy pull up to the right. See Danny get out of the car and walk up. He comes back to the car. So I'm standing there, I know what's going on. Anybody who sees knows what's going on. As Danny puts the car in reverse, in comes the undercover cop, pulls in behind him. 3 cars, doors open, the driver stays inside, but before he could even stop, the other 3 are jumping out, pulling guns. There's cops pulling over where Buddy's limo is. They're blocking him in. Danny, and I can see him from my perspective perfectly from about here up. I could see him turn around. He doesn't know yet. He's looking back behind him to reverse. And when he does that, that's when they pull him behind him. They think he's trying to escape, so they're immediately shooting at the car tires at the back of the car. Everybody's freaking out, even in the store. So the cops are going crazy, screaming, hollering. It's like a beehive that's been kicked. Everybody's being yanked out, Danny's being yanked out of the car as it comes to a stop. They got Buddy on the floor, the chauffeur on the ground. And once things calm down, they start picking everybody up. You can see Danny, he's got his hands behind his back. He's just shaking his head back and forth. I have no idea what they're saying. And it was about that time, one of the officers reaches in and pulls the key out of the car and walks up to the trunk, puts it in the trunk. And when he opens it, he immediately runs backwards, about falling back, grabbing his gun. You can see, once again, the beehive's been kicked. They're all going crazy and running, guns pointed. And at that moment, I'm thinking, what in the hell is going on? And that's when I see Robbie's head come out of the trunk with his hand. I thought he was waving at him. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Later, Danny explained to me, Robbie owed Buddy money. So they concocted a plan that he would get in the trunk while Danny met Buddy and bought the Dilaudid. So I imagined after all of this happened, Buddy standing over there, seeing him with his hands behind his back, wondering, dude, you owe me money. What are you doing in the back of the trunk of this car? I mean, it's a hard thing to explain. But pretty much, that's the story. It's a 12-year-old on a hot summer day going to the 7-Eleven and playing some pinball. Thank you.
Keep it going, Rick Downey, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, you guys having a good time? Yeah. All right. We got 2 more storytellers. So put your hands together. Welcome up another new storyteller. Give it up for Jane Guthrie, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Jane.
Can I take it out?
Yep.
Hi, everyone. So I moved to New York in 1999 from Atlanta. And I moved because I wanted excitement. I wanted bright lights and I wanted a really good bagel. I don't know if you guys were here in 1999, but Atlanta did not have any good bagels. And when I got to New York City, I knew one person. So I knew I had to make friends. I took some salsa classes, I took tango classes, I joined a gym, I went to different parties and clubs, and I also decided I was going to explore my Jewish heritage. Because growing up in Atlanta, I didn't know any Jews. I was surrounded by Baptists. And when I got to New York, it was a whole different ballgame, right? So I went to different synagogues, I went to services, I even took a Hebrew class. And then one day, I heard about Kabbalah. And I don't know if you guys know what Kabbalah is, but Kabbalah is like the spiritual, cool, younger sister of Judaism. Kabbalah is dedicated to understanding the essence of God, the origins of the universe, and the meaning, and the soul's purpose. Just basic shit like that, right? And so, New York City had a Kabbalah Center. And in the Kabbalah Center, they had celebrities. They had parties, they had DJs, and everybody wore this like red string on their left wrist, and the red string cost $36. And in 1999, that was a lot of money, right? Okay. So it's still ludicrous, right? But the red string, if you wore it, it would keep away the evil eye, which was really important. And I fell hard for Kabbalah. I started going to classes. I learned about astrology and I did meditation. Sometimes I did meditation at 4 a.m. because apparently it's better at 4 a.m. I bought a lot of books and languages I didn't even understand. They said, okay, just open the book and scan the page with your fingers. And then the spiritual meaning will just like seep into your body and you'll understand it, right? I drank holy water. I started volunteering. I may have even tried to change my name. So I was probably in a cult, but I was having a very good time, like a really, really good time. And I met a guy. And he worked for the Kabbalah Center, so that made him even better. And he was hot, and we started dating. And I'm sorry, husband, but this didn't happen. So, it was in the early 2000s we met, we started dating. And at the Kabbalah Center, there were a lot of celebrities roaming around. Madonna was there a lot with Guy Ritchie. Demi Moore was there with Ashton Kutcher, Sandra Bernhard, Marla Maples. Everybody was roaming around, right? And then one day, Monica Lewinsky decides to join the Kabbalah Center. And I'm just a girl from Atlanta. I never thought, hey, on a Friday night, I'll be lighting Shabbat candles with Monica Lewinsky. Never occurred to me. But there I was. We were lighting candles. She wasn't really interested in getting to know me. She was very interested in getting to know my boyfriend, David. And she made that very, very clear. So let's just say that the Monica Lewinsky of that time was a bully. She was 100% mean girls. I don't know how she is now, but that was my experience back then. So one night, we're at the Kabbalah Center, we're having Shabbat dinner. There's a big room like this full of round tables, full of people. It's crowded. She comes in late. She grabs a chair from the hallway and she brings it up to our table and she wedges her chair between me and David. And she sits with her back to me the entire night. But then she takes it up a level. She goes to the leadership of the Kabbalah Center and she tells them that she would be a better partner for David. So they interview me and they say, Jane, what is your intention? What is your intention for David? Is your relationship serious? What are you gonna do? What are your plans? And I said, well, my intention at this time is just to have a great time and date somebody and have fun. It's not to get fucked by Monica Lewinsky and wind up on the news. That is not my intention. So I thought I had found a community. I thought I had found love, but I found kind of a hot mess. and a cult. So looking back at my younger self, I have a lot of, thank you, I have a lot of tenderness for my younger self because I was looking for belonging and I was looking for a spiritual connection. But I've realized that spirituality really is an inside job. And if you're being bullied by Monica Lewinsky, it's better to step aside because no one is worth that much trouble.
Keep it over, James. Wow. Man. Y'all have really lived. Man. I love it. I love it, man. Gosh. I'm jealous now. I never got to be in a cult, as far as I know. And I love cult documentaries. Like, I love them. But like every time I watch them, I'm watching to see like, would I have fallen for this? I'm looking for the one. I'm like, yeah, I would have been in this 100%. And I haven't found one. I just haven't found my cult yet. But
Start one.
Start one. No, I don't have the charisma for that, man. You gotta have the crazy eyes and like a multi-level marketing like pyramid scheme mind for that. I'm too lazy for that shit. Okay, all right.
No contracts.
No contracts on cults. Okay. All right. Let's give it up for our final storyteller of the night. Put your hands together for Matt Huffman, ladies and gentlemen.
I became an official ugly American in 1972. This happened in Paris. It's easy to become an ugly American in Paris, apparently it's 1972. I went to see my girlfriend in France. She was taking a language school. And first night I arrived there, we went to a common table restaurant, and there were a bunch of students in there. And I feel like I was the only American there. And my friend Sonia, who's English, introduced me as being an Army veteran. Thanks. I really appreciate that. You know, I've been told before that you should wear a Canadian flag on your backpack when you go to France, if you're an American. So she said that, and immediately a frost occurred in the room. And you could feel it literally. You could feel an icy rejection in the area. And I thought, well, you know, this will pass. This will pass. There's plenty of camaraderie going on here, and they just ignored me entirely. So at one point I said, I just want to thank the French for all the help they gave us in the American Revolution. Without their help, we'd all be speaking English by now. That got less laughs than when Captain cried here. It's just like, you could have heard French, you could have heard frogs croaking in the night. Anyway, that was my entire relationship with this group of college students, right? So we eventually went to Paris, and in the process of getting a hotel room, which was on the left bank, and they had a student revolution, student rioting going on over there 4 years before. So there was lots of police and lots of military. Went to this hotel. Sandra had a reservation, and I was about to say this was, you know, probably an 18th century hotel with no elevator. I was carrying a 50-pound pack, which I foolishly loaded up with gifts and stuff for the trip. So we got there, walked in. She immediately starts jabbering in French. I had no French at all except Putain. You know what that is. So they're conversing. I'm sitting like a toadstool sitting off to the side, not really caring about what's going on. And then I realized that some of the cursing that I heard, I'm from New Orleans, so I heard a lot of Cajun talk, right? Every third word for Cajun is curse, right? So I understood what Putain was. I understood a little bit about what you call a prostitute. And this guy was calling Sandra a prostitute and trying to get me to go away so he could market her. And I'm sitting there thinking, I wonder what the Hulk would do at this time. And the thought went through my head that probably you wouldn't like me if you saw me angry. And then I started to get this red mist, which I'd never had before in my life. This was really shocking to me. I've had 2 fights before, never got to the red mist stage. And then I suddenly got the image of somebody choking, I don't know, what was that furry skunk from Paris?
Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew, somebody choking Pepe Le Pew. And that's the last conscious memory I have this until Sandra dragged me out of the hotel, the slightly devastated hotel. And she told me, you're just like every other American. And then she told me why. It turns out that the guy threatened to call the cops. I went over, and I don't remember a bit of this, I went over and yanked the phone out of the wall. Those are good old phones too. I mean, these things are attached. Yanked it out of the wall, and with the other hand, I grabbed his tie and pulled him through the teller's window, which was part of the deck. It wasn't a small teller's window, it was fairly large, he could fit. And it was a hockey fight. I had him by his tie. I was pow, like this. He's attempting to throw a few himself, but I had him good. Anyway, it was a hockey fight. If you've ever seen a hockey fight, it's a grab, punch, grab, punch, grab, punch. So, we had to flee because there were cops just up the street, right? I kept waiting for him to come out the door. I don't think he was in any shape to come out the door when he left. She just really criticized me for doing this. I went through like 3 weeks of being shortchanged, criticized, not to my face, mind you, they do it off book, right? To somebody else so you can hear it. And I said, I don't know, I just like, I couldn't tell you why I did that, but I'm happy I did. Not in after effect. So we were forced to sleep on a bench that night. The Seine is coursing down one side of the river over here. And don't let anybody ever tell you that they love Paris in August, because it stinks.
Keep it going for Matt, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that applause going for all the storytellers that shared their stories tonight. Like I said again, you guys are the show. And you guys did fantastic, I gotta say. Amazing. So welcome up our producer, Shannon, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Shannon.
And give it up for the amazing Chris Gray. All right, so picture it, it's like 1996. James Cameron is making what will become one of the biggest movies of all time. They're on set, they're having a meal, and all of a sudden Bill Paxton is running around saying, I've had this feeling before, but it's even wilder than usually when I'm stoned. And then another person starts saying, I think all my fingers just fell off. And then James Cameron starts talking to the toad on somebody else's shoulder, and all of a sudden somebody says, I think the clam chowder has been spiked. This became the legendary story of when James Cameron suddenly had 99 problems, which is going to be our theme for next month. You don't have to tell a story about drugs in the clam chowder, but you do have to tell a story about a time when you had 99 problems and it ain't one. So that'll be on when? The second Tuesday of the month, which is when we are always here. That will be April 14th. As you can tell, getting here early, I ain't lying when I put it in the newsletter, 6 ways from Sunday. And we look forward to seeing you maybe before then down the street at the supermarket for Dara's show. Thank you to the manual staff. You are amazing. Y'all travel home safe. Don't let the Nolly Gosters get you down. Have a nice night.
Okay. All right. Good work.